Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now, here comes the host of The Edge of Liberty, full of sarcasm, bourbon, truth, and devoid of the need to say the letter R.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. Dial the band back a little bit. It's the 12th of May, 2025, the day after Mother's Day. Hopefully, if you have a mother in your life or had a mother in your life, you took a moment to think about them or take care of them and do the best thing that you can do for them, which is sometimes staying the hell out of the way. Got a lot to talk about this evening. Oh boy. I'm learning, and I've known this fact. Good evening, Lost Wanderer in the chat room. By the way, before I jump into the subject, if you want to join the live chat, SHR Media live chat at YouTube, just go to SHR Media. You can search on YouTube, SHR space media. It's not hard. You'll see the little logo, this one right here. Click on it, go to the live, and you'll see my ugly mug right there. And you can jump in and join the live chat. So far, I've Reaver Common Sense, the Phantom, Lost Wanderer on the chat. Good evening, and thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mother is only half the word. Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But the lesson that I'm learning, and I guess not learning as much as relearning, or maybe it's just the message is being spread more in my brain, is you could literally Trump could get another country to give us pallets of our own money, just pallets of it, billions of it, and they'd bitch about the denominations that they were coming in. Now, you remember when the whole tariff thing started? It was end of days, according to the left. Oh, he's going to kill our economy. Oh, it's going to be horrible for Americans. Oh, we're all going to suffer. We're never going to eat food. Our ankles are going to fall off. All of these things that they do, they love to throw it out and just beat it into your head how horrible Trump is. And the tariffs was one of those things that, man, so one of the things the left does is they love to make these over-the-top ridiculous statements about whatever Trump's doing. Doesn't matter. And how horrible it is, and all these reasons that it's horrible. And they just bombard you with it, right? I mean, that's just what they do over and over and over again. This is why it won't work. And it's not even day one. It's half a day from the time that he made and it doesn't matter what he's talking about. He goes out and he says it. Hey, Ricky's in the chat room. Good sup, motherfuckers? What's up, Ricky? And they just blow it up. Oh, this is why it's going to end mankind, definitely going to end America, and why Trump is going to be the reason that we fall. And they start listing all these ridiculous things that are never going to happen. And they haven't learned. And maybe they won't learn. And I hope they never learn. Like, never change mainstream media, honestly. I know I bitch about you all the time, but never change, because you make it too easy. All these pundits talking about the tariffs and how it was going to send us into the Stone Ages, and the price of Matchbox cars is going to be $45, and your daughter's not going to be able to buy $152. Yada yada yada. Hey, BZ's in the chat as well, and it never happens. And then we get proof of that in the latest tariffs. Now, the UK tariffs were pretty reasonable, I thought, actually. Over 100,000 cars were made exempt. Markets open to the U.S. for ag, beef, ethanol. Total U.S. estimated benefit, $20 billion a year. Not too shabby considering we usually take it in the shorts, right? As a nation. Somebody said, well, it's not like it's taxpayer money. No, but it's the consumer. That's less money in the consumer's pocket so we take it in the shorts. Just because it's not necessarily direct taxpayer money and the government's not paying them does not mean that the average consumer doesn't take it in the shorts with these tariffs. But then you get to the big one, you get to China. And everybody, oh God, you remember the doom and gloom about how they were never gonna cut a deal, yada yada yada. And the rest of us who had half a fucking brain cell in our head said, wait a minute, if we raise our tariffs on China and we make them sell less, that's gonna kill them and they can't sustain it. We can sustain without China. China cannot sustain without us, especially because China's economy, even before all the tariffs, what talks happened, and maybe, what I'm sure that was part of why Trump moves when he did, but their economy was already hurting. They're already in a bad place. They're overspending. They're not making enough. It was not great. So the tariffs came, and here's the deal that Trump cut so far. 100 from the China tariffs from 145 to 30%. Now, for those of you who aren't good at mathing, if something once cost $1.50 or $1.45, it now costs 30 cents. See, that's how it works. They were charging $1.45 for tariff, and now it's 30 cents. And you multiply it as it goes up. Hopefully you can figure that out. And access to rare earth minerals. Now, why is that important? Well, all of our electronics require rare earth minerals. And as much as consumer electronics, that's important that it covers rare earth minerals, our military electronics, radars, computer systems, all of that stuff requires rare earth minerals. Minimal. We had minimal minerals, but now we're going to get more. China's tariff in return, ours 145 to 30. Oh, I'm sorry. That's how much our tariff was going into China. I apologize. I got my words mixed up. Coming back out, China to here, $1.25 to 10%. So if a Chinese product cost $1.25 before, it is now 10 cents. And all of that is great. But the rare earth minerals are actually what makes this deal important. You see, all of our military equipment, all of our defense technology, all of our offensive technology requires chips, microchips, electronics, all of this other stuff. And in order for us to be able to maintain that, and that now outside of that, we're also talking about medical equipment, anything that requires electronics and computers. We were having a hard time keeping up with the demand in our own country for this. And now we can get the rare earth minerals, bring them over here and produce it ourselves. That is enormous. And I'm sure, but I'm going to guess. Let me say I'm going to guess. 85, 90% sure is when that happens, we're going to stockpile that. I'm sure we're going to be buying massive amounts up front. Chinese citizens were suing the Chinese government because of the loss of jobs. Yeah, but it's a communist country. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about that. Communists don't care about citizenry. Communists don't care about people. That's what it comes down to. They care about money and control. Now, if these tariffs were leading them to, say, an insurrection, overthrow the government, then they would care. If this meant that they would completely lose all of their wealth, the Chinese government, not the people, then they would care. But the lawsuits, they don't give a shit about that. As a matter of fact, I bet you anyone who filed a lawsuit against China is probably going to end up in a concentration camp somewhere. BZ said Taiwan exports to U.S. exceeds those to China. Yes, but the rare earth minerals is where we were limited. we were limited by and large. So that's a huge win. And I don't think people understand that. Yeah, the financial part of it is good. Everything, all the crap you buy on Amazon is going to get cheaper, actually. So that's a win, right? We buy so much shit from China. It's not even funny. And we shouldn't. I mean, honestly, we should be building it here, but people here just don't have the stomach for that because the environmentalists lose their shit and something might go up by a quarter to have a much better made product. But we are where we are as far as purchasing everything for China. And now all of that shit that you're going to buy is going to be cheaper. So, the dollies with the lead paint and all that other stuff going to be much better, much cheaper. You're good to go. But our ability now to stockpile and produce our own chips to secure our own defense and offensive weapons is astronomically freeing. Now you get into medical supplies, you get into other things, and to be able to have chips from those, now you're starting to look at being able to be self-sustaining. And yeah, if God forbid the worst ever happened and we ended up in a fight, a skirmish, what you will, with China, hopefully we would have enough stockpile that we could go without for a long period of time. That would be the plan. It's almost like our strategic oil reserve that the Bidens used to lower gas prices by 4 cents every time there was some important election or something happening. So it's huge. It's good. It's unbelievable. And once again, Trump proved all of those fucking liberals wrong. All of them. Proved it. Proved it. Oh, no, he's getting into a tariff war, and how dare. When was the last time you remember any other president going after tariffs to make things cheaper for us and not just giving away the house? And yet Democrats are crying at the top of their lungs talking about how fucking terrible it is that our life is going to be so much better. Cost of energy is high here compared to China, Jersey Joe. You make a very good point. Also, the cost of labor is higher here compared to China. I understand why the jobs went to China. I'm not saying I'm happy about it. I understand is because over there they can have an 8-year-old in a mine getting the boreum or whatever you're trying to get out of that mine. They can also be making sneakers for Nike, which they do. They can also be making cell phones for Apples. And yes, I know Apple moved their cell phone production to India. Great. Now it's 8-year-old kids in India making it. But at the end of the day, if Clinton, who, by the way, was the real predecessor for all that, he was the one that started shipping our jobs overseas. And when I tell you that Bill Clinton, and I said this on Sackheads a bunch of times, hey, Big E's in the house, mission ready men. When I tell you that Clinton mortgaged everything onto the next generations in order to get a political gain in his term, I'm not kidding. One of the things he did is by sending all these jobs overseas, by making these deals and stuff like that. So things appeared to be cheaper here. Things appeared to be better. He absolutely made us dependent on other countries for our own well-being, as we saw during the Wuhan 19 issue. So everyone who says, "Well, Bill Clinton, he had a great budget and he did a lot of great things for this country," no. Bill Clinton handed things off to you and me, like Biden and the others were trying to do to the next generation. Trump is trying to reverse as much of that as he can. Now, I am a realist. And by the way, they're talking about a big, beautiful budget coming out that's supposed to have cuts in it and everything. Awesome. Great. I want to see a lot of cuts. That's awesome. But I'm a realist here. I know Canadian Heavy Hall, friend of mine in the chat. Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to have you, sir. Sorry about your election. Sorry about your country. What was I saying before? It's good to see him. He's an old friend of mine, so it's good to have it. And Bush never corrected it. That's right. Bush never corrected it. And nobody, and I'll tell you the truth, Trump, the first go around, I don't think did enough to correct it. I know there were efforts made, but I don't think he did enough to correct it. Now he's doing it. And now, yes, we're still going to have a huge deficit overall for our national debt, but it's shrinking it. And it's starting to make it smaller each year, which is what we actually need to do. That's how we're going to fix it. Because I'll tell you right now, and I've said this on social media and I've said this a lot of other places, I don't feel good when I look at what my kid's future is going to be and I see, and I don't have the national debt clock. I forget, what's it, 200 and something $1,000 each person is their individual responsibility for the amount. Oh yeah, more. I want to see more cuts in the budget than Nemo chick with the razor blade. Absolutely. It's something like $200,000 a person, if I'm not mistaken. Citizen, tax-paying citizen, not person in the country. That's like $4,000. Tax-paying citizen, right? I don't feel good passing that along to our children. I just, it doesn't make me feel good. And the fact that I'm actually seeing a president in our time, and I know what the left says. Oh, he's doing it for Trump. He's doing it for Trump. Look, the guy had more money than he knew what to do with. He could be sitting in Mar-a-Lago every single day of the week right now playing golf and chilling. I still believe that he has the best interest in Americans at heart. Is there some personal gain there? Okay, maybe. It's not financial gain because he's lost money by being president. BZ cannot escape the Boston with the Boston. I see my accent starting to be an issue again in the chat room. Interesting. Right? So you look at all the past presidents whose wealth have gone through the roof while they're in office and their loved ones. Look at Biden's. Look at Hunter, right? Look how much fucking Hunter money Hunter made by the paintings. He's a shitty artist. I'll tell you right now, the artists that they have where they have like the monkeys crap into their hand and throw it against a canvas and sell that was better art than anything that Hunter ever did. And how much money did he make? And then they found out that all of those people that bought his artwork were Democratic donors, high-end Democratic donors close to the Bidens, i.e., it was a way to give Hunter money and have it look legit. Go make some art. Our art's all subjective. It's how much art's worth as much as somebody's willing to pay for it or launder money to you for, which is exactly what it was. It was, you bastards. That's all Hunter's artwork was. So I love it when they say, oh, Trump's going to benefit from it. His kids are going to benefit from him being president. They were already rich. They were already fucking more rich than all of those schlums who came before him. Does he give them access later? Maybe. Okay. It introduces them to some people, but they're all working in the administration for the most part and not in like a nepotism way like Hunter was. They actually worked on the campaigns. They actually did stuff. They have opinions. They're intelligent. They're highly educated. They're not crackheads who are throwing out guns in a trash can and giving a laptop full of child porn to a half-blind Scottish computer repairman and then shocked that it got released to the world. You see the difference that I'm making here? The difference between Trump and the predecessors brings you back to the plane thing, right? They're all freaking out over this plane. Now, look, do I think that there's some apprehension with a foreign plane that even though it's American built, it was in the hands of the Qataris for a long time? Do I worry about the espionage aspect of that? Yes, I do. Do I know it's going to be swept a billion times over and over again? And I probably have absolutely nothing to worry about because the technology they have to do that is probably far better than I can imagine. Almost certainly. I see Shaun is registered on how the Sam Adams scale again. You bastards. Telling you, it's a rough room. Rough room in here, I say. Rough room. So let's talk about that for a second, because I was going to jump to another topic, and I'll get back to that. But let's talk about the whole plane thing, which I think is absolutely hysterical. As I said earlier, Trump could get billions and trillions of dollars sent to us in pallets of money, and Democrats wouldn't like the denominations that it came in, right? That's just a given. But the whole plane thing, right? We all know we have 2 planes being built right now by Boeing to replace Air Force One. Air Force One's over 40 years old. The 2 planes that are used as Air Force One, they're over 40 years old. The amount of upkeep on them is astronomical just to keep them flying, just to keep them going. That's just how it works. As something gets older, it costs more and more and more to keep it going. So the Qataris offered the U.S. Air Force, not Trump, by the way. Before people go on there, oh, they're trying to bribe Trump. No, the agreement is the U.S. Air Force can use this 747 as Air Force One. It's being donated to the United States. Trump doesn't get to own it. It may go to his library afterwards. That doesn't mean he's going to be flying around on it. He's already got a plane. And by the way, he's said in the past, he's very happy with this plane, his 757. And it's a lot less expensive to run that 757 than it is to run the 747. So everyone's making this big to-do about Trump getting this plane from the Qataris. Like I said, espionage is the only thing I worried about. Buzz Patterson, who's a former Air Force pilot himself, if I recall, I believe he used to fly Air Force One. Let me see. I'm sorry. He used to carry the nuclear football, and he was a former pilot. My apologies. But he laid this out, and I'll put it up on the screen. It's going to be hard for everyone to see. We said, look, the Qatari 747 was built in the U.S. by Boeing. They're offering a newer 747 to replace 2 current AF-1s that have been flying for 40 years, which are tired and need to be replaced. The wing base at Andrews has also purchased aircraft from other countries in the past, which are currently flying our VP and senior government officials. This is not a new thing. Qatar is offering the jet to the U.S. military, not Donald Trump. As I said, the DoD contractor is based in the U.S. In fact, my dad, a retired Air Force general, used to work for them. They are, not unironically, also working to upgrade FAA technology as we speak, Newark and elsewhere. They will get the aircraft and perform all security and the installation of the system the AF-1 requires to safely move our president around the world, not the Qataris. And you and I will pay for that, but not the $400 million the 747 would normally cost. I could tell you exactly that it would require to modify the Air Force One for safe flight, but that's still top secret, and I'd have to kill you. Buzz, by the way, if you don't follow him on X, is absolutely hysterical. Air Force One will serve the sitting president, whether a Republican or Democrat, until Boeing gets their shit together and completes the new upcoming improved 747s that started under Obama, but was renegotiated under Trump and was completely ignored by the Biden administration. It looks like 2029 or 2030 would be delivery at the soonest. I love X, but sometimes the sky is falling, conspiracy crap grows tiresome, and I wholly agree. So everybody's making a big deal out of this because we got a free plane to help replace one of the 2 tired planes that are currently flying the president that cost us more money for upkeep. And they're going to ballistic about it. Oh, this is a direct gift. Trump can't take a gift, yada, yada, yada. We can't. He's the president. He can't. He's not. The fucking Air Force is. It's the U.S. Air Force. They run it. It's not even, don't get me wrong. Secret Service has a big hand into what goes into that plan, how it's defended, and yada, yada, yada. But it's still the Air Force that runs it, maintains it. They'll square it out. They'll make sure it's retrofitted. They'll go through and make sure there's no bugs, yada, yada, yada. That's what they do. But the side of the plane does not say President Trump of the United States of America. It says President of the United States of America. And when Trump leaves office, which he will, the next president will have it until the new 747s are ready. And they're acting like this is a personal gift from Trump, for Trump rather. And they said when it finally retires, which we're looking at probably 2029, 2030, as Buzz said, It may, if Trump has a museum, it will probably go to the Trump Museum, which has happened with other Air Force Ones in the past. Reagan has one, JFK has one. Eh, that's just what they do with them. They retire them, and then they, instead of destroying them, they find a place to show them off, to let people walk through and see what it was like. But they're not going to keep it around when they have two brand new ones rolling off the line. That's not what they do. They maintain two on purpose. So that third one would get retired anyhow. And when it's retired, why shouldn't it go to a Trump museum or a presidential museum? Who cares? It's not going to go to Trump directly. Everybody knows that. It will not go to Trump directly. That's not even being discussed, but the Democrats are trying to say that's what it was. Which again, as I spoke of earlier in the show, it never ceases to amaze me what they will say, even though it's not true, to try to make and score political points. They will lie through their teeth. Politicians too. Where's that? Oh God, what's that? The pussy Kinzinger. Adam Kinzinger released a whole video talking about why aren't Democrats going crazy? This is clearly a bribe for Trump, blah, 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 blah. Which, and I stated when I responded, it's amazing how he's looking to Democrats for help because he's a Democrat. He says he's a Republican, but he's a pussy. I mean, Democrat. He is a giant, useless, walking vagina, is Adam Kinzinger. All he wants is for us to go to war with Ukraine, put boots on the ground. That's like his ultimate wet dream. This is the guy who was involved in the shoot with the other Missouri guy that was running for Senate, and they set up a really bad course, and they got a ricochet that shot somebody in the arm. Kinzinger was there, and he released this whole rant about why aren't Democrats saying more about this and screaming, and this is a bribe, blah 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 blah. And I was laughing because I'm like, you notice how he went and asked for the Democrats to help and not the Republicans, even though he allegedly was a Republican or is a Republican. That's what he said. Giant, humongous, just sloppy, useless pussy he is. And I'll tell you right now, I made a comment. He's one of those people on X, and I hate this guy so much. I absolutely fucking hate this guy so much. He is one of those guys on X who does not allow comments. He's like Hillary Clinton. He doesn't allow comments under his posts. And I figured this out really quickly a couple months ago when he sicked his whole blue and yellow flag mafia that's on X on me because I disagreed with him and I let him know. What he does is he'll make a post, and then in order to have separation from all the responses and the threats to end lives and all the other stuff that his followers do, he makes you re-quote it. I was reading Earl's comment. Re-quote it to post it, write your comment over it. He gets then tagged in it, and what he does, he comes under your comment and says, oh, hey guys, this guy is saying blah, 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 blah. Let him have it, which is exactly what he did to me. And a whole bunch of low testosterone, beta, sad males with blue and yellow flags. And I know I actually caught one of them who admitted that he was in the Ukraine trying to attack me for it, made threats against me. And it was the funniest thing because he can't even fight his own battles on X. He has to send a whole bunch of soy boys after you. And that's who Adam Kinzinger is summed up. So I guess it does not shock me that he's asking the Democrats for help because he has no point to make and he wants them to make it. It's incredible. They're all the same. You know, that's the thing about these super liberals is they're all the same. They have all the words and none of the action. Chuck Schumer saying today, oh, Trump caved on China. How is that a cave? It's the first time that they've lowered tariffs. How is that a cave? And we got a better deal than they did. You remember the last time Trump tried to work a deal with China? Ironically, COVID-19 showed up about a month later. So just so you know. He has a fucking victory, and Democrats are pissing their pants. And look at that, I'm up against a break. How was that 30 minutes already? God, this hour's going by fast. All right, well, I got to take a break. I need to do what I need to do. When we come back, UK is making a 180, and they're doing exactly what Newsom's trying to doing, and Starmer's trying to rebrand who he is. Talk about that in a minute, right here on the SHR.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Ever dream of escaping the daily grind? At Escapist Travel and Tours, we make those dreams your reality. From breathtaking adventures to cultural immersions, we offer escapes tailored just for you. Let us take you to places where every moment feels like a new chapter in your life's adventure. Visit www.escapist.travel or call us today at 1-855-885-81776. Your escape awaits.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com.
Welcome back to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. Trying to get caught up in chat. BZ says that Xi Jinping who blinked. I agree. This hour. That's right. I said it. We need the ping. Reaver Common Sense. Jersey Joe, who's on this evening. Make sure you check him out on Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 on the East Coast. It's 30 minutes because 1,800 seconds have gone by, which is proof that Jersey Joe's starting to use AI more and more. I'm sure he typed that into Grok to figure the answer out there. Eva for the win. Wish I could escape the daily grind, which is hysterical because he's retired. I have David Hogg up there because something happened. I want to talk about this really quick and then I'll move on. And I thought it was absolutely hysterical. David Hogg, it looks like, and I've seen this in several reports now, it looks like they're trying to force him out. Now, you remember it was what, last month, David Hogg made a post, something to the effect of, we have to fight harder, we have to do more, we have to get dirty, yada, yada, yada. And really, like, essentially admitted to how Democrats do politics. They get dirty, they'll be violent, they'll do all of these different things and support it behind the scenes. And because he said it out loud, now it looks like the DNC is trying to get rid of David Hogg. They're trying to choke the hog out. Anyhow, sorry, that was... Oh, here's another story right here from the Blaze. And he even said in this comment, today the DNC took its first step to remove me from the position as vice chair at large. So I would absolutely... it would make me so happy to see that little bastard absolutely fail and get pushed away. So let's talk about Great Britain for a second. I'm going to talk about Gavin last. Let's talk about Great Britain for a second because, as we know, England, much like our friends to the north, sorry, Kyle, is not the country it used to be. And look, don't get me wrong. We were on the path to that too, but at least we have a leader now who's trying to change it. England is almost gone. I mean, I don't know, and I mean this honestly. I'm not being a dick when I say this, even though it's going to sound that way. I don't know if England can ever recover from where it's at now with the amount of immigration that was unfettered, unstopped, with the amount of just horrible laws, horrible rules. I don't know if they'll ever recover and be the country they once were. But Keir Starmer, that socialist prick, has finally started to figure out in the polling that the people of his country aren't thrilled with how the country is being run. And he's now going to suddenly do a 180 from the wide open borders and change it to this.
We will finally honour what take back control meant and begin to choose who comes here so that migration works for our national interest. You know, this is where the whole debate is skewed, as if some people think controlling immigration is reining in a sort of natural freedom rather than the basic and reasonable responsibility of government to make choices that work for a nation's economy. And for years, this seems to have muddled our thinking. But let me be clear, it ends now. We will create a migration system that is controlled, selective, and fair. A clean break with the past that links access to visas directly to investment in homegrown skills. So that if a business wants to bring people in from abroad, they must first invest in Britain. An immigration system that is fair, that works for our national interest, and that restores common sense and control to our borders. That is what this white paper will deliver. Lower net migration.
So let's look into that a little bit because BZ is right. It seems like a week ago that if Starmer had said that in public, he would have been arrested if he was a common human being. And they've had protests and riots all over the UK about immigration itself. Why? Their crime is up, their unemployment's up. They've brought in, I think it's a couple million, which to their population is a huge shock. It's a tremendous drain on the country itself. It is financially, all of their services are overrun. Stabbings have gone up. They've had the gang robberies. They've had the gangs violence. Like, it's just been horrible for the UK. Something that would have happened here if we didn't have a president stop everything and try to reverse it. So here's the changes they're going to make. Cut net migration by 100,000. English test and a 10-year residency. So in other words, you have to be able to speak English and you have to live there for 10 years in order to become a citizen. Visa tightening. He did make a comment that he didn't want the UK to be an island of strangers. And I thought that was pretty xenophobic, don't you? He's not, again, he is not doing this because he truly believes this is the thing to do. He's doing this for polling. You see, Trump said he was going to do this. He ran on it, and now he's doing it. Starmer never believed in this. He wanted those open borders for as long as possible. He wanted to import as many liberal voters as they could possibly get. But I think there's an equation they finally figured out. If you start looking at all the local elections, the mayoral elections, the county seats, or I forget what they call them, essentially city councils, they call them the council. It's starting to be won by a whole bunch of Muslim immigrants, people that have come there from other countries. And now the Muslim population in these communities is so large, they're voting them in. And if you're Keir Starmer and you're the white guy who's trying to hold on to power, what do you not want? You don't want somebody that a group of people being the majority of the vote that you will never win over, no matter what you do or say, you will never win that crowd over. So they finally realized that. And now they want to start making a change on immigration and requirements. And it's absolutely hysterical because we see that with another little penis who happens to be a governor in this state, Gavin Newsom. And I told you bastards, all of you, I told you, Gavin Newsom's trying to rewrite his legacy. He's trying to change who he is. I said this would happen as soon as Trump won. He's going to change who he is to the best of his ability. Once again, Democrats especially don't seem to realize the internet is forever, but he has to do something. He can't keep going the course he's going. He saw what happened to Kamala. So he's going to try to recreate who he is. And who is the new Gavin Newsom, which is not really a new Gavin Newsom. It's just like a Gavin Newsom that wants to be in power. He's a centrist, right? He came out recently, said all of a sudden, oh yeah, men don't belong in women's sports. After years of debate, after all the laws that he pushed for transitioning and all this other stuff in schools, not being able, by the way, if you're not reading the chat room at shrmedia.com, you're missing out. I'm trying to post them all. I'm trying to keep up, but it's flying. Cool Whip. Jersey Joe. So after all that, you have to remember, California has the worst homeless problem in the entire country, I believe, percentage-wise. And 10 years ago, I think we started sinking money under Newsom into the homeless problem. And I think as of last year, it was $20 billion of taxpayer money. And don't just say, it's just your state taxpayer. No. Federal money went to that too. So all of you guys, Gavin, wasted your money too to try to fix it. And what happened? Homelessness in California went up, not fucking down. Because of all of the policies of the left, and it starts at the top with Newsom, all of the policies of the left, pardon me, that essentially did nothing to solve homelessness. They started all these nonprofits. All of these liberal leaders started running these nonprofits, and they started funneling money to themselves. And that's all that really happened. The homelessness, the drug, and the mental problem in California has blown up exponentially. Skid Row in LA is worse than it's ever been. Sacramento, you go under any bridge under a highway in Sacramento, and there's a homeless encampment. So last year, just before the election, just before the Palisades fire, they passed, they said that they were waiting for Grant's Pass case to come up, which essentially said you can't move homeless people from city streets while they're camping. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can. That's silly. People have a right to walk. It's a public access way. It's yada, yada, yada. And then because they were seeing the polling, the internal polling that we all knew was horrible for Democrats and Kamala, they said, ooh, we got to change course on all this. So now what we're going to do is say homelessness is bad. We have to actually fix it this time. And Newsom started ordering all of these encampments. And these encampments are huge. I don't think people who haven't seen them can understand. I think if you've been to Portland and Seattle, you may get an idea. It's worse on the West Coast because of the climate, right? They can live outside almost all year round fairly comfortably for the most part. You have stretches along beaches, residential communities, nice cities, where you have all of these burnt out motorhomes that have been abandoned and people are living in them. And I mean dozens upon dozens upon dozens of these homes parked right next to each other, and the transients are living with them, open fires in them like it's crazy. You have full-blown shanty towns. Full-blown. Like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. Pardon me, it's getting late. And it's only gotten worse. And I've said, I think I said on BZ's show a couple years ago, the only way this is going to change is if there's a massive fire and a lot of people perish, or the people in the state actually get sick of it and it starts hurting them politically. Well, the latter happened. So now Newsom released today that all of a sudden they're going to start enforcing clearing these encampments. They're going to start enforcing the rules that say there's no sidewalk blockage whatsoever. They are going to require municipalities to offer shelters. They got $3.3 billion from Prop 1 for mental health and housing. And now it's time to make a change. He said there's nothing compassionate about letting people die in the streets. Local leaders asked for resources. We delivered the largest state investment in history. We asked for legal clarity and the courts delivered. Now we're giving them a model they can put to work immediately with urgency, with humanity, to resolve encampments and connect people with shelter, housing, and care. The time for inactions are over. There's no more excuses. Mark my words. Before he officially announces and declares that he's going to run for president, he is going to get the Democrats in the state to pass a bill to bring back mental hospitals. There's like what BZ will tell you. I think there's only like 4 left in the entire state. They closed a lot of these. They were called asylums at the time. And I guarantee you he's going to sign a bill at some point expanding the mental hospitals in this state. But now he's all of a sudden for solving the homeless crisis. He's running. I told you he's running. I told you he's going to run back to the middle. Now he wants homeless people actually off the streets. And as BZ just said in the chat, Newsom is a filthy, greasy shitstick. He is. Gavin Newsom is a shapeshifter. I know I've said this. I've beaten this horse long after it's been dead. He will turn into whatever he needs to be in order to win his next election. But this is also a huge, huge, huge indicator of where the country's going. You're starting to see these liberal politicians start coming back to the center. And it's not going to last. It's only for election purposes. Then they'll go back to what they're doing. But that's because they see where the country's going. The country's going more right. And it's not just the Trump victory that showed that. It's all the current polling, the current youth in this country, the amount of conservatives that are becoming voting age and in college and stuff is going through the roof. They have no answer for it. So they can't keep doing the Bernie and AOC thing where they fly around on private jets and then tell you that it's okay for them to do it, not for you, and hold these rallies promising all these socialist things to dozens and dozens and tens of people that show up. And yeah, the biggest crowd they had was that, what's that fucking party in the desert? Coachella. Yes, they had a huge crowd at Coachella, but people weren't really there to see the Bernie AOC party. Okay. So, and I talked about it. They had a big event in LA and they're like, oh my God, it's this huge event. And I did the math and it's less than 1% of registered Democrats turned out to that event. So it's racism. Yeah. It's unbelievable to watch. And I want you to pay as close attention as you can to the centrists are going to be slightly right. And then the hard lefters, minus the few that they have to have there to keep people on the Democrat ticket and to keep people voting D, they'll keep Bernie, they'll keep AOC, they'll keep them around because it will keep the progressives happy enough to vote D at election time. That's what it comes down to, plain and simple. It's all a scam. It's all been decided as to who's going to do what. The only thing that they're not accounting for is I don't know if Kamala is going to get out of the way. I know Gavin's going to step down. I know they're going to try to get her to run, and they're going to try to do that to lock her up so she doesn't run for president. It's not because they think Kamala Harris is a wonderful state leader. No, they know that if Kamala Harris is the governor of California, she is so into herself. She is so self-centered, and being governor of California being such a large state with such a large budget, very much the protection and the lifestyle of the governor is very much like a president. So she will just eat that up. She will absolutely stay there, and that will open the door for Gavin. It's all about the D. And that's exactly what it is. They're going to goat her into running for governor in California because they know, and I know there's a lot of people, Steve Hilton's running. I know there's a lot of people, it's like, oh, there's a chance to turn California purple, yada, yada, yada. It's not going to be purple. Look, California, I know it's fun to hope, guys. I hope my hair grows back and I lose 100 pounds. Hope is a beautiful thing. Don't ever lose it, but also be realistic. You're not going to change California anytime soon. This next election for governor, which is what, 26 next year, it's going to be Kamala Harris, and she's probably going to win. Now, there's always an odd chance that you might get, and Steve Hilton's running, but there is a former sheriff for LA County, Villanueva. He was a Democrat, a very centrist Democrat. I mean, he was still left-leaning. He wasn't like a super conservative, but he was more center than, especially in California, he might as well have been a hardcore conservative, especially the last 2 years he was in office. He just declared himself a Republican. And I have my issues with some of the things he did as sheriff, but I don't think he's a terrible human being. Alex Villanueva, I think he is going to declare that he is going to run for office as well. He may have a shot because and I know Chad, the sheriff Chad, Riverside County is going to run, but Villanueva has a lot of pull in this state. And you are starting to see in the state assembly, you're starting to see some centrist Democrats leave the Democrats. It's happening more and more, not a lot. It's not going to change the state. Don't get excited. But it is starting to happen. So you might actually see they at least have much better Chad Bianco, that's what I was thinking of. You might see they have some numbers that maybe will be shocking, but will not overturn this state. I do want to give an update. Last Wednesday, I believe it was, as I look through my notes, I was talking about the FAA and just what a shit show the technology is at the FAA. And Ricky was talking about this earlier in the show, and I think Jersey Joe talked about this earlier too. I'm not the only person talking about this. Where is it? But Secretary Duffy, Transportation Secretary, who, by the way, is actually doing something, which Democrats are mad about. Ricky talked about this on America Off the Rails tonight over at KLRN. By the way, if you don't have a chance, check out KLRN, great friend of ours. They simulcast our shows. They're just wonderful folk, and I really appreciate what they're doing. And I appreciate that. And Lost Wanderer has a show. He's in my chat room right now over on KLRN. And if you don't check out his show, he said something like he has his next 15 shows or something planned out. I am scrambling up to the last damn gun fired every single show night to get my show ready. And I start planning my next show as soon as my show ends. So as I am doing all my post-roll stuff tonight, I'm already planning my next show. This guy's and I'm always scrambling. I always feel like I barely make it. And this guy, it amazes me. He's got like 15 shows ready. It's crazy. Villanueva fell out of favor by refusing to make Wuhan 19 arrests. Yeah. Oh no, and he did. And he also, Alex Villanueva was very much against no bail. He was against this rampant crime. Like he's an old school Democrat. He's more of a blue dog Democrat, where social issues he's kind of soft on from a conservative standpoint. But when it comes to like stuff like crime and safety, he kind of gets it. Like I said, I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't agree with everything, but I think I follow him on social media. I read his posts, what he's posting lately is good. Now he could be pulling a Newsom and rolling towards the middle. That's yet to be determined. But Secretary Duffy put out this video today on the upgrades coming to the FBA. Geez, Louise, Sean.
Over the last 4 years, the last administration, they knew this was a problem. And by the way, during COVID, when people weren't flying, that was a perfect time to fix these problems. But again, they got $1.2 trillion for infrastructure, and virtually none of it went to fix the biggest American infrastructure problem that we have, which is our air traffic control system. And so what you see in Newark, we're going to have to fix. We're going to move fast, but we're going to do it right. My concern is that we could see other situations like this around the country because the system is old. It's old. And we are fighting to make sure we work with Congress, get the money, and begin this build of a brand new system as quickly as possible.
So the current system is 8 years younger than me. And let me tell you something. I am a model 1977 who is not long for the junkyard. Everything's breaking down and there's not enough to do, not enough spare parts to put me back together. If you know technology, and by the way, the model that I am of human being has been around for what, 10,000 years, something like that. For a long time. Technology, as soon as something is invented, it's already out of date. It's already old because that next thing's being invented and that next thing's being upgraded. Yada, yada, yada. That's how technology works, and not just in computers, in any technology. As soon as you see it and you get it in your hands, it's already obsolete for the most part. That's just the way it goes. Having a 40-year-old air traffic control system, as I said it the other night, is absolutely and I never thought about it before. I never thought about it before until it was brought up. Is absolutely horrific. It's frightening. It's scary. And now we're seeing outages more and more. And it wasn't part of the last infrastructure bill, like the secretary said. All this other stuff that they did, chips and yada, yada, yada. Look, if you go to FlightAware or Flight Radar 24 or any of those things during the day, and you look at the amount of commercial air traffic that is in the air over the United States, it should shock you that all of that is being managed by 40-year-old technology with discs, green screens, and have a tendency to have outages. An outage at Newark's one of the busiest airports in the country. Ah, yes. Mission Ready Men said it right here. It's criminal negligence. And as Ricky said in his show, it doesn't let anybody off the hook, including the last Trump administration. It was what, 32 years old at the beginning of the last Trump administration? Yeah, about that. So it's long overdue, and we haven't invested into it as a nation. All of these things that they've invested into, I want you to think about how much money the government threw away with USAID. The amount of money that they were giving away to other countries for things like transsexual operas in Ireland, $1 billion or whatever it was. And they were not fixing something that the American public spends a ton of time on and doing. So many people travel. So many people fly. So many people depend on that system to keep them safe. And yes, you have TCAS and you have other things in the jets that help the pilots keep you safe. But the air traffic controllers are the ones who really run things and make sure that planes are keeping their distance and that everything's being seen, everything's being heard, everything's being routed properly, everyone's where they're supposed to be. And to have that be dependent on a 40-year-old system, as Big E said, is in fact criminal negligence, in my belief. So it'll be good. I'm glad to see that they're finally doing some. Oh, yeah, you could have remade the entire air traffic control system 20 times by now, BZ, 10, 20, whatever. That's it for me. I actually got through all my subjects. I had a couple little other topics to talk about: the Trump slashing the insulin generic funds by 80%, the Democrats blocking the ICE facility ambulance, yada, yada, yada. Did not get to it, but there's always Monday's show, which I'll be back 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, right here on the SHR Media Network. Make sure you check out all my good friends Tuesday and Thursday in the morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon East Coast. You have Mission Ready Men with my good friend Big E, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast. You have The Bloviating Zeppelin, Berserk, Bobcat Saloon, hosted by the one and only BZ, a man you know and you love. And of course, Unfiltered Talk, says it how it is, has a mouth like a truck driver, and we love him. Jersey Joe, Monday and Fridays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 on the East Coast. And then pretty soon we're going to make an announcement of another show that we're going to be adding to SHR Media. Someone's coming back, and it will be a great honor to have them back. And I'm not going to Bigfoot anything right now, and we're not going to talk about it until everything's dialed out. You'll also make sure you check out all of our friends over at KLRN Radio. Great group of people, great shows, and they have so many different topics over there. If they have a show for you, is what I'm telling you. So check out KLRN. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know I said, oh, I'm back Wednesday night, not next Monday. Actually, no, I'm not back Wednesday night. I have a very important thing to do with my daughter Wednesday evening. So I will be off this Wednesday. I will be back Monday. So I was right. I will be back Monday. I will be off Friday. I may make up the show maybe before Joe on Friday. I haven't decided yet. I got to try to work that out. I will be back. I hope you have a great week. Take care. Stay safe. And once again, we'll see you soon.
Welcome to River of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.